The unexpected talent. Sam Martinez rubbed his tired eyes and looked at the giant view screen again. The Valkyrie warship floated outside Orbital Repair Station 7. Its hull torn open in 3 places. Scorch marks covered at least 40% of its surface. One of its 4 engine nacelles was completely missing. "That thing is scrap metal," Diane Powell said beside him. "They're crazy to even bring it here." Sam shook his head. 5 other stations already turned them down. The Valkyrie captain is desperate. Orbital Repair Station 7 hung in Earth orbit, one of 12 major human repair facilities that had opened to alien traffic in the last decade. Humanity had only joined the galactic community 30 years ago, and they were still finding their place among the stars. "Let's take a closer look," Sam said, pushing away from the console. "I want to see this wreck up close before we make a decision." The inspection shuttle hummed quietly as it approached the massive alien vessel. Up close, the damage looked even worse. The Valkyrie were known for their military technology, but whatever they had encountered had nearly destroyed their prized warship. Readings show multiple breaches in their antimatter containment system. Kelly Jong reported from the shuttle's sensor station. Their computer core is offline, and life support is running on backups. Sam pressed his face against the viewport, studying the twisted metal. "Bring us around to view the port side damage." As the shuttle maneuvered, Sam noticed something interesting. The hull breach pattern. It's not consistent with weapons fire. "What do you mean?" asked Kelly. "Look at the tear patterns. That's stress fracturing." They pushed the ship beyond its structural limits. Sam pointed to several key areas. "And those aren't weapon impacts. Those are micrometeorite clusters. They flew through an uncharted debris field at high speed." The shuttle completed its circuit around the damaged ship. Sam was already making calculations in his head. "We'll take the job," he announced. Back at the station, the Valkyrie captain stood tall in the meeting room, her scaled skin reflecting the overhead lights. She looked down at Sam with 4 golden eyes. "Your species has been among the stars for mere decades," she said. "My ship requires advanced technology repairs. 5 senior stations have declared it beyond salvation." Sam smiled. "With all due respect, Captain, they're wrong." He activated the holographic display, showing his repair plan. "Your antimatter containment system isn't actually breached. The monitoring sensors are damaged, giving false readings. Your main computer core has physical damage to its cooling system, but the processors themselves are intact." The captain's eyes widened slightly. "The trickiest part will be the hull," Sam continued. "But we can salvage about 60% of the original material and supplement with our new composite alloys. They'll actually provide better protection than your original plating." "And the missing engine?" the captain asked, her voice skeptical. "We'll build you a new one," Sam said simply. The Valkyrie captain made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Build? A Valkyrie phase shift propulsion system? Impossible. The technology is beyond your capabilities." Kelly stepped forward, displaying another diagram. "We've studied the other 3 engines. We can't replicate your technology exactly, but we can create a compatible hybrid using components from 3 different species tech that we've worked with previously." The captain stared at the humans for a long moment. "This has never been done." "That's why the other stations turned you away," Sam explained. "They tried to solve the problem using standard Valkyrie repair protocols. We're approaching it differently." 3 weeks later, the Valkyrie warship detached from Orbital Repair Station 7 under its own power. Its hull gleamed with a combination of original plating and new human-made composites. All 4 engines glowed with steady power. The Valkyrie captain's transmission appeared on the station's main screen. "Engineer Martinez, your work exceeds specifications. The hybrid engine actually performs at 104% efficiency compared to our standard designs." Sam nodded. "Glad we could help, Captain." After the transmission ended, Diane looked thoughtful. "You know, word about this will spread." Sam nodded. "It's fine. We've got plenty of work." He didn't realize then how prophetic his colleague's words would be, or how soon the station would become famous across 3 sectors of the galaxy. He had no way of knowing that this repair would be the first step in changing humanity's place among the stars. Lisa Connors held the small piece of alien metal in her hands, turning it over slowly as she examined the crystalline structure through her specialized goggles. The Draxian freighter that had limped into Orbital Repair Station 7 last week needed hull repairs, but the material they used was notoriously difficult to work with. "Any progress?" asked Ben Harper, wiping grease from his hands with a rag. Lisa nodded, still focused on the sample. "I think I've figured out why their hulls keep fracturing during high-speed travel." 6 months had passed since Sam Martinez had repaired the supposedly unsalvageable Valkyrie warship. Word had spread quickly through the shipping lanes. Now alien vessels were appearing at the human repair station almost daily, many bypassing their own species' facilities to seek human expertise. The Draxians used this aluminum-titanium alloy reinforced with carbon nanotubes, Lisa explained. But they're binding the elements at the wrong temperature. It creates micro-stress points that can't handle dimensional transitioning. Then peered at the metal sample. "Can we fix it?" "Better," Lisa smiled. "I can improve it." The Draxian captain, a tall being with iridescent scales and compound eyes, watched nervously as Lisa worked at her station. The translator on his chest harness buzzed as he spoke. "Our metallurgists have refined this whole formula for 7 generations. The problem is not in our materials, but in the cosmic radiation of the sector we travel through." Lisa didn't look up from her work. "Respectfully, Captain, that's not quite right. Your alloy is good, but it could be better. The radiation just exposed a weakness that was already there." She activated the molecular furnace, adjusting controls as it heated up. "I'm going to rebind your whole material at a higher temperature, then cool it using a gradient pattern rather than uniform cooling." The Draxian made a clicking sound that the translator didn't catch. Lisa recognized it as skepticism from previous interactions with their species. 3 hours later, Lisa presented the captain with 2 identical-looking metal plates. "This one is your original hull material," she said, holding up the first plate. "And this is the reforged version using my method." She handed both to the captain. "Try to bend them." The Draxian's powerful hand strained against the first plate. It remained rigid until suddenly cracking with a sharp snap. When he applied the same pressure to Lisa's reforged sample, it flexed slightly but didn't break. "Impossible," the captain said. "This material doesn't flex. It should shatter under stress." "That's the point," Lisa explained. "By reorganizing the molecular structure, I've given it micro-flexibility. It can absorb energy from impacts or radiation without developing fractures." 2 days later, the Draxian freighter departed with a fully repaired and reinforced hull. Within a week, 3 more Draxian ships arrived requesting the same treatment. "I don't understand why they're so surprised," Lisa said during a staff meeting. "It's basic materials science." Sam scratched his head, apparently not so basic to them. "The Gallian ambassador told me yesterday that our approach to repairs is refreshingly primitive yet effective." Kelly laughed. "Did he really say primitive?" "He meant it as a compliment," Sam shrugged. "From what I gather, most species develop very standardized, procedure-driven approaches to their technology. They perfect one way of doing things and stick to it for centuries." "That's crazy," Ben said. "Technology is all about innovation and improvement." "To us, maybe," Lisa replied thoughtfully. "But these aliens seem to think about their ships differently. They follow the exact specifications of their designers, never questioning if there might be a better way." As the meeting ended, Station Director Patel stopped Lisa at the door. "I just received a request from the SETI Alliance. They want you specifically to look at their flagship's heat shield problem." Lisa raised an eyebrow. "The SETI? They're one of the oldest spacefaring races. What could they possibly need from me?" Director Patel smiled. "They said they need someone who can think beyond established parameters. Apparently, That's becoming a known human trait. Jack Wilson closed his eyes and pressed his ear against the large pipe running along the wall of the Hedrani cruiser's engine room. The alien engineer standing beside him shifted uncomfortably, all four of his arms crossing in succession. "What is the human doing?" The Hedrani asked Greg Foster, the station manager who had accompanied Jack on this job. "He's listening," Greg replied simply. 3 years had passed since the Valkyrie warship repair that had put Orbital Repair Station 7 on the galactic map. In that time, the station had expanded twice to accommodate the constant stream of alien vessels seeking human expertise. What had started as a curiosity had become a phenomenon across 3 sectors. Jack held up a hand, signaling for quiet. The faint rhythmic thumping inside the pipe told him everything he needed to know. "Your quantum regulator is misaligned by about 3 microns, Jack said, opening his eyes. "It's causing a harmonic distortion in the coolant flow." The Hedrani engineer's face slits flared in surprise. "Impossible. Our diagnostics show nothing wrong with the regulator." Jack shrugged. "Your diagnostics aren't picking it up because the error is smaller than your sensors can detect. But if you listen, you can hear the flow pattern changing every 17th cycle." Greg tried not to smile as the alien engineer stared at Jack in disbelief. This happened almost daily now. Aliens shocked by the seemingly magical ability of humans to diagnose problems through methods their advanced technology missed. "May I?" Jack asked, pointing to the access panel beside the pipe. The Hedrani hesitated, then nodded. Jack opened the panel and carefully adjusted the tiny regulator using a manual tool rather than the digital calibrator the aliens preferred. "Try the engines now," Jack suggested. When the Hedrani activated the propulsion system, the improvement was immediate. The cruiser's engines purred with a smoother, more efficient sound. Power readings increased by 14%. "You improved our engine efficiency?" the engineer asked, mandibles clicking in agitation. "But you only claimed you would fix the cooling system." Jack looked confused. "Well, they're connected systems. When I fixed the coolant flow, it naturally improved the engine performance." Back in Greg's office, an urgent message waited. The Hedrani ambassador demanded an immediate meeting. "This is becoming a pattern," Greg sighed as he prepared for the video call. When the ambassador's stern face appeared on the screen, Greg put on his diplomatic smile. "Ambassador, I understand you have concerns." "Concerns?" The ambassador's voice rumbled. "Your technician has altered protected Hedrani propulsion technology. This violates 3 different technological sovereignty treaties." Greg maintained his calm expression. "With respect, Ambassador, we only repaired a faulty component. Any performance improvement was a natural consequence of restoring the system to proper function." "The propulsion system now exceeds original specifications," the ambassador countered. "Your technician didn't just repair, he enhanced." The conversation continued for nearly an hour before Greg finally managed to smooth things over by agreeing that future Hedrani repairs would be documented in extreme detail and approved by their engineers. Later that evening, Greg met with Sam, Lisa, Jack, and the other senior staff. "This is the 3rd diplomatic incident this month," Greg said, rubbing his temples. "The Kalnars were upset about Lisa's hull reinforcement techniques. The Vex threatened sanctions over the weapons calibration improvements. And now this." Sam leaned forward. "We're just fixing things the best way we know how." "How is that offensive?" "It's not just that we fixed their ships," Greg explained. "It's that we improved them while doing it. Many of these species have strict protocols about technological development. When we casually enhance their systems, it disrupts their carefully managed progress timelines." "That's ridiculous," Jack said. "If you see a better way to do something, you do it that way. That's just common sense." "To humans, yes," Greg nodded. "But we're learning that our approach to technology is unusual. Most species don't hack things the way we do. They don't improvise solutions or cross-apply techniques from one technology to another." Lisa smiled slightly. So basically, our ability to fix things by breaking the rules is what makes us special. And diplomatically troublesome, Greg added with a wry smile. But apparently indispensable too. There's already a 6-week waiting list for repair slots. Kate Daniels stared at the massive ship that filled almost the entire viewing window of Orbital Repair Station 7. The Nomad vessel was unlike anything she had ever seen. Nearly 3 kilometers long, a generation ship that carried over 15,000 members of the nomadic Elleran species. And it was dying. Life support failures across all residential sections, Kate said, reviewing the emergency data. Oxygen recyclers operating at 18% capacity. Carbon dioxide levels rising. At current rates, they have less than 72 hours before toxic levels are reached. Station Director Greg Foster looked grim. They bypassed 3 other repair stations to reach us. Said no one else would even attempt repairs on a system this old and complex. The Elleran ship had been traveling between stars for over 200 years. Its life support technology was a complex integration of systems added by multiple generations, each building upon the last with whatever materials and technology they could trade for or salvage. We need everyone on this, Kate said. All shifts, all specialties. Within an hour, Kate had organized the station's engineers into specialized teams. Sam Martinez would lead structural repairs. Lisa Connors would handle material fabrication. Jack Wilson would diagnose the central systems. Kate herself would coordinate everything from the command center they'd set up. The main oxygen recyclers are beyond repair, Jack reported after his initial assessment. The catalytic beds are completely degraded, and they use a mineral compound that went out of production 50 years ago. Can we replace them with modern systems? Kate asked. The Elleran ship's chief engineer, a tall, gaunt figure with pale blue skin, shook his head sadly. Our power grid isn't compatible with modern recyclers. The energy frequencies would cause cascading failures. Kate refused to accept defeat. Then we build hybrid systems. Jack, can we salvage parts from the old recyclers? Maybe some of the filtration components and housings, he replied. Lisa, can you fabricate something close to their original catalytic material? Lisa looked thoughtful. Not exactly the same, but I might be able to create a substitute using components from 3 different species technologies. The hours ticked by as the teams worked around the clock. Sleep was taken in short shifts. Meals were eaten while working. The oxygen levels on the Elleran ship continued to drop, but more slowly as emergency measures were implemented. 48 hours into the operation, Kate stood surrounded by diagrams, parts, and exhausted engineers. It's not working, Sam said, voice heavy with fatigue. We've tried 7 different configurations. The recyclers run for a few minutes then fail when scaled to full capacity. Kate stared at the components spread across the work tables. Pieces of technology from a dozen different species, Valkyrie power regulators, human filtration systems, Draxian catalytic chambers, Hadrani flow controllers. Then she saw it. A solution so obvious it was nearly invisible. We've been trying to rebuild their system, she said, energy returning to her voice. What if instead we create multiple smaller systems? Independent units for each residential section. Distributed processing instead of centralized, Sam nodded, catching on immediately. Each one would need less power. And we could customize each unit for the specific needs of that section, Lisa added. With renewed purpose, the teams reorganized their approach. Instead of one massive system, they designed 12 smaller units, each serving a portion of the ship. When one unit showed success in testing, teams were split to replicate the process for the others. Just hours before the deadline, the final system came online. Throughout the Elleran vessel, air quality readings began to improve. Carbon dioxide levels dropped. Oxygen levels stabilized. In the observation lounge, Kate watched as lights throughout the enormous generation ship brightened to normal levels. Beside her, the Elleran chief engineer's eyes glistened with moisture. Our ancestors' records speak of species who could perform miracles, the alien said quietly. We thought they were myths. Kate shook her head, too tired to even smile. Not miracles. Just humans doing what humans do. The news of the impossible repair spread quickly. Within days, the Galactic Council itself had sent observers to document what had happened. The impossible repair of the Ellerin generation ship wasn't just another success story. It was proof that humans possessed something unique, something valuable enough that even the highest authorities in the galaxy could no longer ignore. Ryan Murphy had never planned to become famous in the galactic scientific community. As the only xenobiologist on Orbital Repair Station 7, his job was usually to ensure that environmental systems on alien ships were properly calibrated for their various biological needs. But after watching humans perform impossible repairs for 3 years, he had developed a theory that was now attracting significant attention. The question isn't why humans are good at repairs, Ryan explained to the mixed group of alien scientists who had gathered in the station's conference room. The question is why other species aren't. On the large display behind him, Ryan showed images from Earth's history. Primitive humans crafting stone tools, building pyramids, inventing the wheel, developing steam engines, and eventually reaching for the stars. Most spacefaring species evolved very differently than humans, Ryan continued. The Valkyrie developed natural armor that protected them from predators. The Hydrani evolved multiple limbs for complex manipulation. The Draxians developed biological sonar to navigate their foggy homeworld. The alien scientists watched attentively, some using translation devices to follow his words. But humans, Ryan highlighted a basic human skeleton on the screen. We had almost no natural advantages. No claws, no armor, limited strength, average speed. What we had was adaptability and the ability to use tools. A culinary scientist raised a tentacle. This is basic evolutionary theory. Why does it explain the repair discrepancy? Ryan nodded. Because most of your species developed biological solutions to survival problems. Humans developed technological ones. For thousands of years, our entire survival strategy was based on modifying our environment rather than adapting biologically to it. He showed new images. Humans building shelters in every conceivable environment, from Arctic ice to desert sand. While the Valkyrie were evolving thicker scales against predators, early humans were inventing spears and building walls. When faced with cold, we didn't grow fur. We tamed fire and made clothing. Our entire history is about jury-rigging solutions with whatever materials we had available. An elderly Ellerin leaned forward. So you believe humans have a cultural advantage in technological improvisation, not a biological one? It's both, Ryan explained. Our brains evolved specifically to solve tool-based problems. We understand technology intuitively in a way that's different from species whose evolutionary advantages were biological. When we look at a broken machine, we don't just see the standard repair protocol. We see possibilities. The presentation continued for another hour as Ryan explained how humans' evolutionary history had created a species uniquely suited to understanding, modifying, and improving technology. The final evidence is in how we react to new technology, Ryan said as he concluded. When most species encounter a new device, they learn the correct operating procedure. When humans encounter new technology, our first instinct is to take it apart to see how it works, then try to improve it. It's just how we think. After the presentation ended, alien engineers lingered to ask questions. Some seemed skeptical, others fascinated. A group of young Draxians approached Ryan with particular enthusiasm. We wish to learn this human approach to technology, one said. Could we study your methods directly? This question had been asked more frequently in recent months. Engineers from across the galaxy were becoming interested not just in having humans fix their ships, but in understanding how humans approach problems. Later that evening, Ryan joined the station's senior staff for dinner. So now we're not just a repair station but a school? Greg asked, considering the training requests that had begun to pile up. Sam smiled. Why not? We could formalize what we're already doing informally. Create actual classes in human-style problem-solving and technological adaptation. The Galactic Council has already sent an inquiry about establishing an official cultural exchange program. Greg added. They're calling human repair techniques a vital cultural resource worth preserving and sharing. Ryan looked around at his colleagues, remembering how just 3 years ago they had been an ordinary repair station that aliens approached with skepticism. It's strange, he said quietly. Throughout history, humans always thought we'd impress aliens with our art, our music, our philosophy. It turns out what makes us special in the galaxy is our ability to fix a broken engine with duct tape and creative thinking. The derelict ship appeared silently at the edge of human space. Long-range sensors detected its massive form drifting silently toward the inner system, its ancient hull covered in markings no one could identify. No power signatures emanated from the vessel. No response came to any communication attempts. Within hours, the Galactic Council had declared a Level 1 containment protocol. Within days, 3 different specialist teams from advanced civilizations had attempted to board the mysterious craft. None returned. In the emergency meeting on Orbital Repair Station 7, Station Director Greg Foster looked grimly at the holographic image of the Council representative. "Let me understand this correctly," Greg said slowly. "After losing 3 elite teams, you want us to send our repair crew to this death trap." The Galidian representative's face remained impassive, their 4 eyes blinking in sequence. The Council believes human creativity may succeed where conventional approaches have failed. Olivia Barnes and Alan Hayes, the station's most experienced engineering team, studied the limited data available on the derelict. "The hull material is unlike anything in the database," Olivia noted, adjusting her glasses as she examined the readings. "And those markings could be writing, or they could be technological interfaces." Alan nodded, his hands moving through the holographic display. "The ship is at least 50,000 years old, predating all known galactic civilizations. Whatever built it is long gone." 2 days later, Olivia and Alan approached the ancient vessel in a heavily modified shuttle. Unlike the previous teams who had attempted to dock with the derelict, they stopped 100 meters away. "Previous teams all tried to use standard docking procedures," Alan said, adjusting the scanner array they had cobbled together from 6 different technologies. "Which means they triggered whatever defense systems are still active." Olivia nodded, studying their scans. "The ship appears dead, but it's not. It's dormant, like a computer in sleep mode rather than powered down." "There." Alan pointed at a section of the hull. "That pattern is repeating at a mathematical interval. It could be an access point rather than a door." Instead of attempting to dock, they deployed their secret weapon, a small probe they had built overnight. It contained no power source of its own, no computers, nothing that could trigger electronic defenses. It was purely mechanical, designed to interact with the pattern they had identified. The previous teams approached this as military specialists or archaeological experts. Olivia explained over the comm link back to the station. "We're approaching it as repair technicians. This ship isn't hostile. It's broken and waiting for the right kind of help." The probe touched the ancient hull, its mechanical fingers aligning with the pattern. For several long moments, nothing happened. Then a section of the hull reconfigured itself, creating an opening just large enough for a human to enter. "It worked," Ellen exclaimed. "The ship recognized our probe as a repair tool." With extreme caution, Olivia and Alan entered the derelict. Inside, dim emergency lighting activated at their presence. The corridors were sized for beings approximately human in height, though the proportions felt slightly wrong. "The previous teams likely triggered defense protocols," Olivia whispered, though there was no need for quiet. "But we're being recognized as maintenance personnel." They moved deeper into the ship, following pathways that seemed to open for them while closing behind them. Each chamber they entered contained technology beyond their understanding, yet somehow familiar in its basic principles. "It's like the ship is," showing itself to us," Alan said in awe. They finally reached what appeared to be a central control room. As they entered, a holographic interface sprang to life, displaying symbols that shifted and changed as if trying to find a language they could understand. "It's trying to communicate," Olivia realized. Alan studied the patterns. "I think it's asking for authentication. Previous teams probably tried to hack or bypass this system." Olivia had a sudden insight. "We're not here to control you," she said directly to the interface. "We're here to help repair you." The symbols froze, then reconfigured. A new display appeared showing the ship's systems, many damaged or offline. The ship hadn't been attacking intruders. It had been defending itself from what it perceived as threats while waiting for proper maintenance personnel. "The ship's been dormant for millennia," Alan breathed, waiting for someone who would approach it correctly. "Not as conquerors or researchers," Olivia nodded, "but as mechanics." As they began to interact with the ship's systems, neither realized they had just changed the course of galactic history. Sam Martinez stood at the large observation window of what had once been simply Orbital Repair Station 7. Now, officially renamed the Human Engineering Academy, the station had tripled in size over the past year. Ships from over 30 different species orbited the massive facility, waiting for repair slots or for spots in the now-famous training programs. "Hard to believe it all started with that Valkyrie warship," Greg Foster said, joining Sam at the window. "Even harder to believe what we found on that ancient derelict," Sam replied. The ship that Olivia Barnes and Alan Hayes had successfully boarded had contained technological principles that predated all known galactic civilizations. The mysterious builders had apparently mastered techniques that the current galactic community had never discovered, or had discovered and then forgotten over the millennia. "The Council researchers are still translating the technical archives," Greg said, "but what they've deciphered already has rewritten engineering textbooks across the galaxy." The most surprising discovery had been that the ancient builders had approached technology much like humans did, with creativity, adaptability, and a willingness to experiment. Their technical documentation showed multiple solutions to the same problems, evidence of continuous improvement rather than standardized approaches. "The old ones were like us," Sam mused, watching as a group of mixed-species students followed Lisa Connors across the docking bay below. That's why their ship responded to Olivia and Alan. It recognized kindred spirits. The discovery had elevated humanity's status in the galactic community overnight. What had been seen as human strange, sometimes primitive approach to technology was now recognized as something rare and precious, a way of thinking that had once built wonders, but had somehow been lost to most species over time. "The Ellerin philosopher was right," Greg said. "Most species evolved toward biological specialization. They developed natural tools, claws, enhanced senses, protective hides. But the ancient builders, like humans, evolved as generalists who used external tools." Sam nodded. "And that creates a fundamentally different relationship with technology. We don't just use it, we constantly reinvent it." Below them, in a large workshop, Ryan Murphy was teaching a class of alien engineers. On the wall behind him was the Academy's new motto: "To repair is to understand. To understand is to improve." 6 new repair stations are under construction, Greg mentioned. All of them will follow our model. Mixed crews of humans and aliens working together, sharing approaches. Outside the window, a small ship approached the station. Its design was unlike anything in current use, sleek, efficient, and beautiful. It was the first vessel built using principles from both the ancient archives and modern human ingenuity, a project led by Olivia Barnes herself. "The Council is already talking about a new golden age of innovation," Greg continued. "They believe the combination of human creativity and alien technical knowledge will advance galactic technology more in the next century than in the previous 1,000 years." Sam smiled as he watched the alien students below, their attention focused intently on Lisa's demonstration of material stress testing. "And to think, all we were trying to do was fix ships. That's the point, isn't it?" Greg replied. Humans don't set out to revolutionize technology. We just try to solve the problem in front of us, using whatever works. And somehow, that approach turns out to be special. As evening approached, Sam made his way through the bustling corridors of the academy. Aliens of all descriptions nodded respectfully as he passed. Many were chief engineers or technical directors from their homeworlds, now students learning the human way of approaching problems. In his office, Sam found a small package waiting on his desk. Inside was a piece of metal, a fragment of the original Valkyrie warship's hull that had started everything 4 years ago. Attached was a note from the Valkyrie captain, to remind us all that sometimes the greatest discoveries come not from seeking new horizons, but from fixing what is broken. Sam placed the metal fragment in a small display case on his wall. Outside his window, the endless stream of alien ships continued to arrive, all seeking the same thing: the unique human talent that had become the most valuable resource in the galaxy. The ability to look at a broken machine and see not just what it is, but what it could become.